Welcome everybody. Behind me is Wilson Lake, my favorite lake in the entire world, but it has a problem. In recent years, it's faced constant fishing pressure, and overfishing is beginning to take an effect on the sport of fishing on my favorite lake. So today, I'm going to take you through how to fish objectively and how to fish while keeping the environment and the sport of fishing for future generations in mind. So let's go. Before we dive in, I'd just like to give some background on why I decided to make a video about overfishing for my Passion Pursuits project. My first memory from a boat is eating too many moon pies and throwing up over the side while my dad and my grandpa went on fishing. It's safe to say I've come a long way since then, as I now fish competitively and have caught thousands of bass in my lifetime. I think I have two interests in my life that qualify as true passions: fishing and my faith. A congruent passion I have is a love for the environment, as it is God's creation and contains the realm of fishing. But as I've come to discover, fishing is facing the dangers of both extreme pollution and overfishing all over the world, and the problem is only getting bigger. Both marine and freshwater harvests have increased dramatically since the middle of the 20th century, and are now showing signs of reaching their upper limit. At the rate commercial and recreational fishing practices are growing, the sport may not be as enjoyable or even available at all for future generations. And a dream of mine is to teach my kids to fish. Overfishing on freshwater bodies of water has had overwhelmingly negative effects on the environment and fish populations in recent years. All over the world, ecosystems and habitats are being destroyed, and both those who fish for sport and commercially are suffering because of the lack of people practicing sustainable fishing. Throughout my fishing experience, I've fished across multiple states and on dozens of bodies of water, and a few things have become clear to me. Quality fishing and lake health are declining, while pollution and overfishing are on the rise. These are issues that tear at my heart because of my love for the outdoors and the sport of fishing. On a personal note, my most captivating first-hand experience with the dangers of overfishing and pollution was the time I encountered a fish kill on my favorite lake. Now, this took place around 2 years ago on Wilson Lake when I was preparing to fish a tournament in late March. A fish kill takes place for either one of two reasons: a deep freeze or a pH imbalance in the lake. This particular kill, I later found out, was due to a large amount of gasoline leaking from the marina, which, from what I could tell, was the cause of the deaths of hundreds of fish. Since I saw a representation of the carnage humanity could cause on the lakes that I love, I've felt the need to do something to preserve our bodies of water. By helping to spread both awareness and also some suggestions for sustainable fishing, I can do my part to protect my passion from the dangers of overfishing and pollution. Now, in order to preserve bodies of water and the sport of fishing, resources need to be taken into account and replenished when harvested in order for fishing to be a sustainable practice. National Geographic is quoted as saying, "Sustainable and controlled fishing guarantees the survival of a fish species and steady fish populations." By everybody doing their part, we can all enjoy the sport of fishing without sacrificing the health of the environment. Protecting spawning areas is also a preventative measure to protect fish populations. Now that we have a little bit of insight, let's move into what is sustainable fishing and what can we all do to play a part in preserving our bodies of water and the sport of fishing. Overfishing a small body of water is going to have even more detrimental effects than it would on a lake, because very easily you could blow through and catch every single fish in a small body of water like a pond. In order to maintain a healthy population, you need to keep fishing at a sustainable rate, especially during the spawning season like we're seeing right now. Not pull fish off their beds or leave waste that could be harmful to bass fry or any other fry in the lake. Even something as small as keeping your gear well maintained can reduce your waste while fishing. There we go. Little guy. Hooked him right in the cartilage. Doesn't harm the fish as long as I'm taking this hook out. I don't do any damage. Just like that. Perfectly fine. Most bass fishermen that you talk to are gonna use a polymer knot for nearly everything, just generally speaking. And something you can do, it's an easy little tip to reduce some of the waste that you could be creating, is to use an improved polymer knot where you don't even have to cut a tag end off. This way you're not cutting off any extra line that could get lost or end up in the water if you're not throwing it away right. And this just takes that out of the equation. So you're tying a regular polymer knot, and you're going to pull the line to where your tag end gets short enough to where when you finish it, like I just did there, you don't have to cut anything off, and you're just ready to go. So there's no wasted line there. Whether you're fishing with a small plastic worm or a big glide bait, you need to treat them the same, in the sense that they're equally as bad to lose, because snagging each of these in the water, even though this is a $20 lure and this is a $1 lure, they're both polluting the water and damaging the ecosystem. So fish this one just like you're trying to not lose this one. A thought I've always had is that certain areas on lakes should be designated as preservations to ensure that the population is breeding properly. This is a tactic that has been used for a long time to protect other harvested game species, and I think it needs to be applied to our lakes. In order to meet the two main goals of sustaining fish catches while maintaining biodiversity, local communities need to produce economic and social benefits from the fishery. People who value our bodies of water need to realize the issue at hand is that the majority of the community doesn't know that there's a growing problem because they aren't involved personally with the sport of fishing. By getting the community involved through spreading their correct information, more resources can be pulled to save the health of our lake's ecosystem and the sport of fishing. In general, the overfishing dilemma can be solved by spreading awareness and setting new regulations to protect our aquatic ecosystems. Really, more people need to be educated on the negative effects they are causing by overfishing. Simple countermeasures, such as limiting the amount of recreational tournaments to a healthier number, is a great way to educate people on the problem and keep the lakes healthy. While they can be fished in a sustainable manner, tournaments are, on average, more traumatic to the fish as opposed to catch and immediate release, and they create increased boat traffic, which damages the environment. Especially when it comes to bass fishing, there are recreational tournaments nearly every weekend of the year these days. The constant pressure on fish ruins the sport for others and leaves trash and waste in our wildlife areas. By practicing sustainable fishing tactics, everyone can enjoy the sport of fishing for generations to come. When it comes to both marine and freshwater ecosystems, pollution is a growing problem due to extensive fishing and overharvesting. The effects of overfishing can be combated by routinely cleaning up and restoring habitats. Healthy populations and habitats need to be maintained in order to keep the sport alive. Measures must be taken before it's too late to both protect and restore marine and freshwater wildlife from the effects of overfishing. To summarize the point of my video, all over the world, ecosystems and habitats are being destroyed, and both those who fish for sport and commercially are suffering because of the lack of people practicing sustainable fishing tactics. This is a problem not without a solution, however, and if we all do our part, we can really make a difference and save the sport of fishing. If sustainable fishing is practiced and the environment receives its proper respect, the effects of overfishing can be halted and the sport can once again be enjoyed by everyone.